Small town. Damn, that's you strictly.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Rock Stadium hosts the Orange Bowl this evening. The Cavs are hitting stride. Wild Card Week is upon us, and we are back to give you the real in sports. I'm your co-host, Small Town EP, live from Atlanta. They are Wade Julian, live from New York City. Big Kev shot it back once again. Great to have you back, Kev, live from South Florida. You are now tuned into your number one sports talk show, All Things Sports, brought to you by Small Town Productions. Ticker up top, brought to you by ESPN Bet. Kev, how has your new year been treating you? Welcome to the second show of the year.
Good to be back. Good to be back. So far, so good. It's been a little relaxed to start the year, but I'll be in Dallas and Atlanta the next 2 weekends. So I actually got to let you know where I'll be. So
Tap in.
yeah, it's a quick Thursday to Saturday trip, but I'll be there, and getting the new season underway.
June, how's the weather up in New York treating you? It's earlier today it was colder in Atlanta than it was in New York, but we're both feeling it right now.
If one video or meme or whatever we want to call it could describe it, it's the brother. What is this? What is this? 28 degrees feels like feels like it's at 9. And so I'll tell you what, standing outside in that weather from about 8:30 in the morning to 11, it was tough this morning. But sometimes you gotta just do what you gotta do, and thank God that we're able to sense the cold in itself. So
1,000%. It is what it is. Hey, let's kick it off this evening. I mean, we are like 45 minutes away from the Orange Bowl kicking off at Hard Rock Stadium. Notre Dame, Penn State. There's been some controversy in the media. Penn State head coach saying, Notre Dame they didn't get a conference championship game. They're independent. I mean, I don't know what their path really was. We know what their path was. We know who they beat. Once that loss to NIU, that NIU got paid a little check. They kicked it into gear, and they have not looked back. Tonight's champion will be I don't know if it's one of the only times a black head coach will win a FCS championship between both head coaches. Kev, who you got this evening with the line at Penn State being -1?
So I think the line moved because I think it was Notre Dame -1 for a while. And so that tells me something. But it also, I don't know if this is real, but I did just see a video before I jumped on with you guys of Drew Aller apparently being on a yacht earlier today. So don't know if that was real or if somebody photoshopped some images, but you have to question everything in today's AI era. So don't know what if it was true, if it was not, but saw that and I was like, maybe I should take a look at the line and see if it's moved, and saw that it moved to Penn State's way actually. So uh I think it'll be an interesting game. I do kind of like Penn State. Like I think Notre Dame has a great secondary, but I think Tyler Warren's the best tight end in the country. And yeah, I think Penn State kind of just has a little bit more on offense than Notre Dame. I think we saw Riley Leonard throw for under less than 100 yards last week as they beat Georgia, who was also playing with their backup quarterback. So uh, don't know that it'll be as easy of a matchup tonight for Notre Dame. But I am interested. I do think it'll be a good game, but I think at the end of the day, Penn State does pull it off.
Drew, and those reports that there's some Notre Dame players under the weather, as a lot of people that you may or may not know have been in the last couple of weeks. Everybody, wash your hands and stay safe, please. June,
Yeah.
you think these flu reports are going to play a big part on this Notre Dame team?
It doesn't matter what kind of reports come out at this point. And also, I think that's first of all, I heard there was a lot of people getting sick in general around this time right now. But traveling from the north down to the tropical weather in Florida. I know you guys in Florida, Kev, don't have your 80-degree, 79-degree weather right now, and it has dipped into the lower 50s. But coming from where it was 25 degrees, 30 degrees, and just having this temperature jump up and down, it could mess with you, regardless of the fact we're here now, and those that are playing have to step up, because the biggest report that I saw is that Abdul Carter for Penn State is questionable, or game time decision, which I do expect him to play, but that's the main thing that Penn State needs to worry about, and Notre Dame should probably hope is going to favor them. Um, Also, Jeremiah Love, being I guess questionable earlier this week with the ankle injury, he looks like he's going to play. Those are the two reports to me that really matter. I mean, if you're sick and you can't go, hey, next guy's got to step up. And as far as these two teams go, for me, X factor wise, and like how this game's going to play out, it's going to come down to Nick Singleton, Katron Allen running that ball for Penn State, and Jeremiah Love running the ball for for Notre Dame, and it's going to be crucial that Riley Leonard plays a clean game, because Kev mentioned, Drew Aller being best, tight end in the country. Excuse me, Tyler Warren being the best tight end in the country. And by the way, Kev, everybody's saying that's cap. I don't want to throw Drew Aller under the bus like that. Let's hope that's not true, and he has a great game. This is not an Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard situation, but
I find it
hey,
hard to believe that with walkthrough in the morning, he would have had time to
yeah,
get on
and
a 4 hour
James
yacht.
Franklin
But
as your head coach, you're not gonna do that, So, nonetheless, going back to my point, I think that if Abdul Carter plays, Jeremiah Love plays, we're gonna see a really good game tonight. And EP, I was telling you, my dark horse was Notre Dame to come out and win the whole thing, because of like the path that they were able to have, not in the regular season, but in the playoff. I'm moving like the line is a little bit, and if we get a Abdul Carter start in this game, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really, really tough for Notre Dame to stop two running backs that can go for 100. Um, we'll see though, because Riley Leonard to me can change it all. If he goes and runs for 85 yards or almost 100 yards with Jeremiah Love, Penn State's gonna be looking at a long night. So I think possession is gonna determine this one.
Oh, Penn State number 6 defense, Notre Dame number 8 defense. Notre Dame has won its last 6 games in NFL stadiums, but has lost its last 2 at Hard
Yeah, he
Rock.
finds these crazy stats, bro.
But they lost their last 2
Like what?
at Hard Rock, losing to
hey,
Alabama in 2012 and losing to the Canes
I
in
was
2017.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure the last time Notre Dame was at Hard Rock, I was actually there in person to see the belt go directly onto ass.
Hey, when
41
Trajan
to
Bandy
8.
hit that pick six, man, Jesus. But
Hey,
EP got them stats that you like. You tell him your parlay, and he's like, well, I don't know, man. The last time that they played with the AC set to 76 degrees, this year the Heat have the AC set to 74 and they've been 12-0. Like, what?
I don't know what to tell you. Last time
You
they played
cash
on
out.
the last
Go
time they played
cash
on
out.
Tuesday in the month of
Yeah.
January. I
What?
got, hey man, I got
I didn't consider that. Like,
noted.
I, I didn't realize they were playing in an NFL stadium today. And
I got Notre Dame.
anyway,
Give me Notre Dame to this evening. All that being said, give me Notre Dame
hey,
tomorrow.
real
Yo,
quick, we were in a group chat and Andre, shout out to Dre. We was talking about James Franklin, like the elephant in the room is his record, right? Against top 5 teams, big games. Ain't really done shit. And Andre's point was that this is a what have you done for me lately league, and lately he's been winning playoff games. Marlon pointed out, shout out to Marlon, that they didn't win against the top 5 team in the playoffs so far, and so two of them both make great points. But I think Penn State has done, I think what's most important is that Penn State has done a phenomenal job all season long. And to get here, they've done exactly what they've had to do. It hadn't looked like they almost lost. No. They've handled business as they should. And I don't see why anybody would want to look at the record in terms of tonight's game in an hour or just less than an hour, because I think you got two great football teams there that are playing for more than themselves tonight. I think Penn State will rally behind that 1-13 or whatever kind of record he's got and understand like, yo, coach needs this win. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited, man. We get a lot of good playoff games at the Rock too. Like the Orange Bowl has been a good thing
Yeah.
at the Hard
facts.
Rock Stadium.
And also to the point of like Penn State hasn't been a top 5 team in the playoffs. We remember last year when Jordan Travis got hurt for FSU. FSU wasn't a top 5 team anymore. Carson Beck isn't Jordan Travis, but having your backup quarterback in at this point of the season with the teams that you're playing, I wouldn't say that Notre Dame has beat a top 5 team in these playoffs either.
Tomorrow
And that
evening.
win, real quick, I'm sorry. Even that win against Georgia wasn't super convincing if you're Notre Dame, right? Like Riley Leonard kind of struggled. The offense struggled on both sides. But only one team, to Kev's point, had the backup quarterback playing. So, yeah, I think the explosiveness that Penn State can play with at times, like what we saw them do to Boise State and just explode. And, granted, Boise State, they don't throw the ball as much, but Riley Leonard, on the other hand, is he going to have a great game throwing the ball, or is he just going to, do what he did against Georgia? Abdul Carter, one more point, on this game. Abdul Carter, if he does play, which I fully expect him to, their pressure percentage, I think, goes from like 32% when he's off the field to 45%. So, I mean, it's just, major what he can contribute. And I think, I think Riley Leonard is going to be in for a long night today.
Woo. Tomorrow evening, AT&T Stadium, the Cotton Bowl in Arlington, Texas, Ohio State, Texas. The SEC outside of Texas is 0-2 in these college football playoffs. June, what does Texas have to do to avoid adding another loss column? Another number in the loss column for the SEC.
Yeah, I think pressure Will Howard, make him uncomfortable all night, because if not, we've seen what Jeremiah Smith has done. We saw what he did in the Rose Bowl. We saw what he did all season long, and it's not a fault to your defense if you can't stop Jeremiah Smith. You can't blame yourself for looking bad against that guy, but you also have to do your part in making it fair for your DBs and because coverage sacks happen, but we need actual sacks too, right? We can't shut Jeremiah Smith can play in the league next year. Like that's a guy who can go to the league next year as an 18-year-old freshman. Emeka Ibukum is going to the league first round. They got studs that can catch the ball over there. And I think the way to suppress that is getting to the quarterback, because their quarterback, as accurate as he is and as good as we've seen him play at his highest, we've seen him also struggle, and we've seen him look a little, out of place when it's uncomfortable. So Chip Kelly's going to have a lot on his shoulders calling plays and trying to switch it up and get guys open. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is for Texas and that front seven to just get as much pressure as they can uh, on Ohio State.
Yeah, I think Ohio State wins this convincingly. Jeremiah Smith, I think, is the best receiver in college football already, like as it stands right now. I think, and Ryan Williams, I think, is like
Yeah.
needs to be mentioned in that conversation, which is crazy because it's two true freshmen that we're talking about as the best receivers in college football. But I agree with June. Like he could play in the league tomorrow. Like you look at him, he's a different type of specimen, which is also crazy coming from Ohio State, where you have seen a talent that's come out of that position with a guy like you had Marvin Harrison Jr., who everybody considers a generational talent, and then you're replacing him next year
Yeah.
with Jeremiah Smith. So and even before Marvin Harrison, there were plenty of receivers who have come out and been uh very good and productive receivers in the NFL. So but I just I'm not I think Ohio State's clicking. I think when we look back at that Michigan game, it will be the best thing that happened for Ohio State.
Mm,
Losing that
For Ryan
game
Day.
I mean, yeah, and for both. Like,
There you go.
I mean, I'm not an Ohio State fan, but if you tell me that every year you'll lose to Michigan but win a national championship, most Ohio State fans, I'm assuming, wouldn't take that.
No, well, yeah, I'm sure some of them are going to be,
Some
a little.
it's
I don't
in
know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's intriguing, but I think they wouldn't take it because I think Michigan fans would be unbearable for them. But
Right,
I mean,
right.
theoretically, you would rather win a national championship than win a
No, of
rivalry.
course, of
Uh,
course.
but I do see where if you're Ryan Day, you need that win eventually. But uh, which is why I say it'd probably be better for Ohio
So,
State
Kev,
than
let
for
me
Ryan
hold
Day.
on, Kev, because in the chat, shout out to the cat, shout out to Ray Can, shout out to AF. Ant is saying Texas don't have a chance. And based on what you're saying, you don't think they do either. Now, I don't know if you guys each have this recency bias. Now, Kev, you started to explain yourself a little more, and I did like your take as far as Michigan loss being kind of that fire in their ass that they needed or under their ass. And it's kind of crazy. My fault, y'all.
Oh
but
my god.
it's like Oregon. I think Oregon kind of had it coming. They front ran all season, and rightfully so. They played amazing football. They found themselves in a neutral spot against another really good team that is coming off of this embarrassment, right? And is fighting for their coach's life, fighting, those seniors on their team, wanting to, have that chance at a national championship or at least a semifinal appearance. Oregon came out and had no energy. And I'm not saying only the Oregon game is what you're going off of for this take, but what has Ohio State done so convincingly all season to make you think that when they play this SEC team, who granted is a Big 12 team in the SEC now, but they have a front seven of an SEC team from 10 years ago, at Texas, with a injured center, one you I don't know
What
if their running back is that guy, and so I'm just a little curious to see how y'all think this is going to
so
be just a lopsided victory. Because Antoine, real quick, just said I 100% have recency bias. So thank you, but Kev,
I mean, for me, I said at the beginning of the playoff, if whoever won that Ohio State Oregon game was going to win the national
yeah,
championship.
yeah.
And
But
so,
but it's not about Ohio State winning the game. I think they have a great
well,
chance to
no,
win. It's going to be a game, but
I said this at the
convincingly,
beginning. I said this at the beginning of the playoff before anybody even played a game. So to me, Ohio State is going to go on and win the national championship now. But that was right after the Michigan game. So I hadn't seen a game before I decided that. To me, those have just been the two best teams in the country all year. Ohio State, I mean, the best receiver in the league. Will Howard's a good quarterback. He can get him the ball. Who's not afraid to take chances. I think when you look at everything that they've got on that team and a good defense, And
Yeah.
I know this is not the best way to judge because every team is different, schemes are different.
Of course.
But what does Ohio State do to Arizona State?
What does Ohio State do to Arizona State?
Yeah. To me, they run them out of the building. Texas didn't do that.
Oh, like if they were to play them, you're saying okay,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. I got you. I was like, wait, what kind of trick question you got here? But yeah, you're right, absolutely. But so I'm with you. Like, I'm not here to disagree with you. I think the no chance or like blow them out the water is a little far fetched. Now, what I do agree with in that, like, why I could see that being a thing is because Quinn Ewers, you don't know what kind of game you're going to get from him. And if it comes down to like the quarterback, yeah, I'm going to take Will Howard. You know, I'm more trustworthy of him having a consistent game, especially with the weapons he has around him. And this is why I'm just emphasizing the fact that, you know, Texas really has to make it uncomfortable up front, and pressure is going to be the name of their game. But if not, yeah, I can see, you know, a two touchdown victory for Ohio State. But I don't know if it gets like ugly. You know, I don't think this game gets ugly. I think we're going to see a good game for the most part, and I'm excited to see it. It's tomorrow night. We're going to see, you know, what kind of national championship we're looking at next Monday, and I think we'll be excited for it nonetheless. Now, real quick, hold on. E. I know I just sometimes thoughts come to my head. So now let's play this out. Ohio State wins. Boom. Penn State wins tonight. Boom. Ryan Day's job has, I guess, been more secured each win, you know, with each win. But if Penn State beats Ohio State in the national championship, what happens now? You know, that to me is very interesting in itself. And I think it also makes you look at your head coach and be like, fuck, wait, hold on. We were doing so good. I don't know anymore.
I think the AD already said he'll be back before. Then that was
All
right
right,
after
boo.
the.
Next question.
Yeah.
I hate that. Jim Irsay. By the way, we'll talk about this a little later. Jim Irsay, Chris Greer, or Stephen Ross, and and I think there was one more team. All said that their GM and coach are coming back, and I don't know that the fan bases for those teams are all excited about that. But
Let's get into the NFL because, like I said, we got wild card weekend, and we got some Saturday games. Chargers on the road in Houston, 3-point favorites on the road. Gentlemen, Herbert in his last 8 starts on the road has 10 touchdowns, no picks, 106.8 passer rating. Kev, you said Texas don't got a shot tomorrow. Does Houston have a shot on Saturday?
They have a shot. And to be clear, I just said I don't think it's going to be competitive. Everybody's got a shot every week. But I think Houston, to me, Jim Harbaugh is one of the greatest football coaches of all time. He doesn't have the Super Bowl to show for it. Obviously, just won the national championship to kind of solidify him in the college world. But yeah, to me, it's just like wherever
went to
he
the Super
goes,
Bowl though, and I think that
he
stands for
did.
something, right?
He did, and I
Lost to Ed
believe,
Reed and Ray Lewis.
yeah, and I believe also that if he were to win a Super Bowl, I believe he'd be the first coach to do that, win a Super Bowl and a college national championship. But yeah, so I think Houston I loved Houston going into the season. I think there are too many injuries, especially on the offensive side, like losing Diggs and Dell, for me, ruined it. Joe Mixon had been a top 3 running back all season. If you throw in 2 receivers like Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell into the mix, I think that offense would have produced a lot better all year. They could never, even when Diggs and Tank Dell were playing, Nico Collins was out. They could never really mesh and get those 3 guys on the field together, except for maybe 1-2 games, which I'm not expecting to see what I would see at the end of the season if those 3 guys had a chance to play together. So it's unfortunate to see because it's not, especially with Stephon Diggs, a situation where he's just going to come back and remain Stephon Diggs for that team. So I think the Chargers end up taking it. It's also a road team in the playoffs being favored over the home team when there's not a big not a big difference in the record or anything like that. Kind of speaks out to me a little bit. So I think the Chargers take it on Saturday.
Ooh. Kev mentioned Joe Mixon, and out of the Houston roster, he has the most playoff experience with 8 games while he was with the Cincinnati Bengals. He also was, like Kev mentioned, one of 4 running backs in the AFC with at least 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. What kind of impact is he going to need to have, June, for maybe the opposite of what Kev is saying to happen?
I mean, he has to have a big game. CJ Stroud over the last 10 weeks, put it like this, CJ Stroud over the last 10 weeks has been outplayed by Bryce Young. If you look at the numbers, touchdowns, less interceptions, more yards, more completions. Uh, Obviously, not wins, which is what really matters. However, in terms of getting your receivers the ball, in terms of not having a 100-yard receiver since week 13, I think things like that matter and they mean stuff. The Chargers have, on the other hand, I think just been on the up. Like we haven't really seen a bad game from the Chargers all year. I don't think they've put out any type of embarrassing performance on film this year, and that's part of going to what Kev was saying as far as we're having one of the best coaches ever. Just come in and instill some sort of culture and pride into the locker room. We know that when the Chargers play, we're going to get a competitive game. We don't know if Justin Herbert's going to throw for 300 or if they're going to run for 170. And that's the exciting thing about it. So going back to Joe Mixon, I think he has to have a big game. The reason I bring up CJ Stroud is because if Joe Mixon doesn't, give that crutch to his quarterback, CJ Stroud has had this real sophomore slump. And again, I do want to acknowledge the injuries and the inconsistency in lineups and Tank Dell kind of just going through a fucking hell of a year, if you will, right? Um, but there's no excuse. At the end of the day, we have seen CJ Stroud regress. We've seen him play worse than he did last year. Their offensive line is out of touch. And to me, this is just the you won your division. You know what I'm saying? You won your division, and it's the AFC South. Congratulations. So you made the playoffs. If the game, you know what? I can't. It's too soon. But yeah, I do believe Joe Mixon has to have an amazing game for Houston to keep it relatively competitive. I don't know that this is going to be a great game going into the late third, fourth quarter. It'll probably start off tight, tense, playoff atmosphere, both sides kind of going through the motions, and then we'll see some sort of separation in that fourth quarter grind smash mouth football that Jim Harbaugh loves.
I would say that Joe Mixon needs to be the player of the game for Houston to win. They need to be able to control the ball, control the clock, and he
Absolutely.
needs to be able to
Absolutely.
rush for over 100
Score two
yards and
touchdowns.
yeah, get a couple of
Yeah,
scores.
yeah. Fact. And it's not something he can't do. We've seen him do this year, right? Like Joe Mixon has been an X factor for this team and got them off to the start that they got on, like because Houston came out swinging. Like Nico Collins early in the year, and even throughout the year, Nico Collins battled the injury, came back and still played good, but he didn't play near as good as he did in the first 7 weeks. Losing Diggs was huge. And I think that CJ Stroud kind of started dealing with some confidence issues because the misses, it's like CJ Stroud is one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the league. The misses though have been, and so just everything put together. A lot of people want to kind of go at D'Amico Ryans. I think that's kind of too much. Like D'Amico's a great coach, and Houston is in a tough spot, right? Injuries will fuck you up. We've seen that every year. And last year they overachieved, and then they set this bar, I think, for themselves and for fans and for experts to look at and evaluate. Like, oh my God, CJ Stroud, rookie of the year, best rookie quarterback year. And then, I mean, now we got Jaden Daniels kind of doing the CJ Stroud this year. So it's like it gets lost in the, we are all human. He is 22 years old, and the offense has battled a bunch of injuries, and the defensive side too. So Houston's just not ready yet. I don't think they're ready for the big playoff moment to get to the AFC Championship. Don't get me wrong. Give this team 2 more years, a couple more free agents pickups, and a couple more draft picks. Yeah, we could be looking at one of the elite AFC teams for the next 5 to 10 years, but we're just not there yet. And I think that some people have higher expectations than they should for this team.
Let's take it up to Baltimore, where the Steelers are in town and are 9.5 point dogs. John Harbaugh was in his first year at Baltimore. Mike Tomlin in his second when the two teams in '08 went down to the wire in both regular season games and then met again in the AFC Championship game that year. Zay Flowers has been ruled out for Baltimore. Kev, does that make you like the plus 9.5 a little more?
um, I mean, yeah, like Pittsburgh is not a team that's going to go into a Mike Tomlin coach team is not a team that's going to go in to Baltimore in the playoffs, third time playing them and lose by double digits. So I'd like the plus 9.5. Do I like the Steelers? No. Uh, Lamar Jackson versus Russell Wilson is all you really need to say about it. But I do think that a Mike Tomlin coach team, you can expect it to be at least a somewhat competitive game. So I don't think they lose by double digits.
The Steelers lost 4 of their last 5. Baltimore's won 4 of their last 5. June, do you see that trend continuing in Saturday's matchup?
Yeah, 100%. And Zay Flowers, as much of an X factor as he's going to be in this playoffs for the Ravens, they don't need him to beat the Steelers. I know the question was the 9.5, and so they don't need him to beat the Steelers. It would help if they had him for that 9.5. I would feel way more comfortable betting a 9 plus 9.5. But this Ravens team is elite offensively, okay? Elite. And since week 13, they are leading like 5 different defensive statistics, number 1 in the league. Pittsburgh over the last 5 games, 4 or 5 games, has regressed offensively. They haven't been as healthy with George Pickens battling his injury, being their number 1 guy. We've seen Russell Wilson look like a completely different quarterback. They can't run the ball. And frankly, they don't look like a good team. Like they look like they bottomed out. Like they gave us all they had in those first 10 weeks. And it goes back to like the preview of the season preview, right? I was wrong. Yes, I was wrong. I probably gave them 2 less wins than they had. And I'm sure we were shocked a little bit at the great, rate they were winning. But when they started playing division football, we started to see what this Steelers team really, really was. And I'm not saying they're a bad team. They're far from a bad team. This is a extremely well coached team. Are they stuck in their ways maybe a little bit? Are they maybe handcuffed to certain things because of their quarterback? Maybe. I like Kev's point when he says Mike Tomlin and his team should not, or a Mike Tomlin coach team, you don't expect them to lose by double digits. You don't. But shit happens. And we didn't expect them to lose 4 out of 5 against playoff teams and look like the way they look. So I see Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry having an amazing game this week. Whoever steps out, maybe Tylan Wallace is the guy that steps up in place of Zay Flowers. I think he has an amazing game. This is going to be at the bank. It's going to be rocking there. There's a lot of hatred. And I also like the point Kev made as far as this is being their 3rd time seeing each other this year. So, a lot of familiarity. But that means that the Ravens and their coaching staff has had 2 other games to, kind of base off. And Todd Monken can really, really draw something up. We've seen Joey Porter Jr. struggle over the last couple weeks of the season, even though he's still an elite number 1 corner. MVP is what I'm gonna say. Am I confident in plus 9.5 or minus 9.5 for the Ravens? But I would do it. And I think the Steelers have shown the best football they've played all season.
I like it's crazy because I like a team coached by Mike Tomlin that's an underdog more than I would like a team coached by Mike Tomlin that's a favorite.
That's fair. That's fair. And listen, whether they win by 10 or not doesn't matter at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? But I absolutely think Pittsburgh has no chance to win this game. I don't. I think what they've showed versus the Chiefs, what they showed versus the Eagles, what they showed versus the Ravens. Who's gonna convince me now that it's gonna change on the road? It's too late. Word to what's his name? Too late to apologize. Fort Minor. Shout out to him. Is that Fort Minor?
One Republic,
One
One Republic.
Republic.
One Republic. Yeah, Fort Minor's 10% trust, 20% skill. Sorry. Same shit. One Republic. Wow.
Oh my god. Gentlemen, the Broncos set a single season record for sacks, and they are on the road against the Bills offense that only allowed 14 this season, fewest in the NFL since 2009. Rookie of the Year candidate Bo Nix is in town in Buffalo. Von Miller, familiar face for Denver. June, will Denver pull off the upset? A lot of reports, a lot of people like in Denver. How likely do you think that Denver walks in to someone else's trap and takes over their trap?
I'm gonna hit you with the Tony Romo. I don't know, E. I don't know. I don't know, Jim. You know, I like Denver. Like I like this matchup for Denver. I think they can win this game. They absolutely can. They have a great pass rush. They keep the quarterback in the pocket, the most in the league. And Bo Nix, we don't know what we're gonna get. Like we might get 300 yards from Bo Nix on Sunday night or Saturday, whenever they play. And but we also might see some, rookie Bo Nix. We might see the week 1 through 5 Bo Nix because of the moment. We never seen Bo Nix in this moment. So like, do I think the Bills are gonna lose to the Broncos? No. This is somebody who, if they gave the MVP to him, I wouldn't say he literally deserves it, but I would say he's partly deserving of this award because of how great he had, a great a year he had. And I do want to give credit to Josh Allen, no matter all the Lamar Jackson, MVP stuff I'm buying. Josh Allen is the 1B quarterback of this season. Like, amazing season. The touchdown to interception ratio, I think, is, if not the best in NFL history this year for him. And his playoff, I think it's a playoff touchdown to interception ratio, which is like greatest in NFL history. And we're talking about Josh Allen. Like, you remember Josh Allen versus the Titans or versus the Texans in the playoffs, like pitching the ball back when he has no business, kind of making these stupid bonehead plays. The same guy. He has grown, he has matured, he's learned to take care and value of football and keep possession for his team, make plays when needed with his feet, with his arms, using all the weapons his coaching staff has given him. And they have one of the best. We hear Ben Johnson's name all the time when we talk about head coaches, when we talk about amazing offenses. But Joe Brady, since he's gotten to Buffalo, I mean, he's night and day that team. Ken Dorsey, he had it going for a little bit, but there was a ceiling with Ken Dorsey. Joe Brady, to me, I think unlocked an even, I can't use that, but he unlocked another level with Josh Allen, and that's what we're getting now. I think it's going to just be a little too overwhelming for the Broncos, if you will. To try to continue to score with Buffalo is going to be where I feel like they're going to, have trouble. So as much as leading up to today, even like, I'm like, yo, that shit, bro. Like, we could see the Bills lose. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible for them to lose, but the moment is too big, and I think Josh Allen is too good and too much of in his prime right now he ain't losing the fucking Broncos, like rookie quarterback at home. Get out of here. Get out of here. And Kev, I want to hear what you're saying about this because I know you agree with me.
Kev.
Yeah. I don't think the Broncos really have much of a chance. Their best chance is run the hell out of the ball, which has been Buffalo's biggest weakness all year is their run defense. So if you can get Javonte Williams going and get forget the other running back out there. I actually like him more than Javonte Williams. But McLaughlin. So
There
I
you
think
go.
he's like the one of the most underrated backs. I don't know how he doesn't get more touches because it seems like every time he touches the ball, something good happens. So if they can get the ball in his hands and Javonte Williams' hands a little bit, control the clock, keep Josh Allen off the field. You said it, like they've given up the least sacks all year. Part of that is because it's Josh Allen. Like he he's hard to bring down. You can't really get to him. When you do, you can't take him down.
Yeah.
So a lot of that has to do with Josh Allen, and they've got a great offensive line. 14 sacks is 14 sacks. It's less than one a game. So you're doing your job as the offensive line, but Josh Allen also deserves a ton of credit for limiting the number of sacks that the offensive line might give up. Um, but yeah, so I do like one road team to win on Sunday. It's not the Broncos, though.
Oh, not the Broncos. So let's go to game 2 on Sunday in Philadelphia, Lincoln Financial. The Packers are in town. Kev, you got any love for Green Bay this weekend?
I hope you like that segue, E, because this was the game I was talking about. Um, yeah, I think this is the best opportunity on Sunday for a road team to get a win in a playoff game. I just think I think it's the same, like a similar situation. I think the Packers defense can do a good job to not stop Saquon, but slow him down enough to give Jordan Love and the Packers a chance to win the game. So I think it'll be a close game. And I kind of something about the pack, like there's always just something about the Packers on the road in the playoffs that makes me want to go with them. So and I don't know, it do the Eagles do enough throwing the ball? Like if the Packers get up early, do the pack are the Eagles able to get into a game where they need to throw the ball? We haven't really seen it have to happen all year. So interesting. Like I think 15-5 was a touchdown and interception for Jalen Hurts, which is crazy nowadays in the NFL. So yeah, I think that's an interesting game. I think the Packers pull out a close one though.
Shout out to Ant in the chat saying Eagles blowout. June, you sharing the same sentiment as Ant?
I blowout is a tricky word. That's like I would say two scores, like two touchdowns is a blowout. I think you lose
In
by
the
two
playoffs for sure.
touchdowns, you got blown out. I think this could be a 10 point, 11 point kind of win. Yeah, Kevin, I don't see eye to eye here, and that's perfectly fine. Jordan Love is the reason though, and not just because he's coming off of an injury, but he's one of the reasons. I mean, let me start with Saquon Barkley, right? The non-quarterback MVP of this league, the best player in this league this season who wasn't a quarterback. Um, Unstoppable. I don't see how Green Bay is going to stop him. And so that's simply put, when we talk about loading up the box, you got a guy like AJ Brown who wins one-on-ones, Devontae Smith on the other side wins his one-on-ones, and Dallas Goedert over the last 4 or 5 weeks has kind of came back, or whenever he came back from that injury, he's come back rolling. And so a quarterback's best friend is Dallas Goedert, a tight end, right? Jalen Hurts is coming back off injury. So I think that's something to look at too. But he's not coming back off of a wrist injury. He's not coming off of an AC sprain. He has a concussion, right? So he had a major headache for a couple weeks. He'll be fresh. He'll be ready. And um, I think the offense is going to pick up where they left off. On the other side, when I talk about Jordan Love, we've seen all year that he can make every throw on the field. He can wow you. He's going to like, holy shit. He's still at the point, he's not where Lamar Jackson is now, where Josh Allen is now in terms of taking care of the football. He will let it go in the wrong time still. And I think he still has to learn through that. And moments like, is this a Sunday night or Saturday night game?
Sunday.
Sunday
Moments like
afternoon,
this,
late afternoon
Sunday afternoon is going to be a very, very critical and I'm sure in the future he'll appreciate it, not in the moment, but it's going to be a very big teaching moment for Jordan Love. This is the best defense in the league. Let's not forget that, right? With two amazing pass rushers, or let me say one. Jalen Carter is a two players in himself, but they also got Zach Bond over there, and then Darius Slay's been holding it down, but two rookie cornerbacks, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, locking shit up. And so Christian Watson being out, I get it, Josh Jacobs, but you got big Jordan Davis down there and Jalen Carter. It's going to be very tough for the Packers offense to really roll and get comfortable. And so we saw week 1 in Sao Paulo or Rio de Janeiro, wherever the fuck they played. It was a it was a convincing
Yes.
win. And Jordan Love also got hurt that game. I just don't think it's the Packers' turn yet. That's more so what it is for me. And also Philadelphia being is that they have the greatest defense in the league statistic, or they've been playing the greatest defense in the league over the past few weeks. Knowing this is to me, this is the Eagles are playing for Nick Sirianni harder than Penn State's playing for James Franklin at this point. Like they go and lose this game first round. I don't know what's next in Philly at that point, because now we got to start talking about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has no business losing this game. Y'all went and got Saquon Barkley. Y'all didn't let him get the record because y'all want to keep him for week 19, and here we are. So it's put up or shut up at this point. And Kev, the Packers have a chance to win the game. Like I don't see this like, oh hell no. It's just the better team should win this game. Absolutely.
Is it Super Bowl a bust for the Eagles this year?
No, the NFC is. I mean, the Lions are fucking like good luck. I think if you lose to the Lions in the NFC Championship, it's like Ryan Day getting to the title and and losing.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get through. You're gonna have to get through Sam Darnold.
Hey, don't do that, because Roethlisberger top 5 quarterbacks this year. He is number 4 on that list, and I believe him. And I believe, don't do that, Kev. They got
that's fine. He's not gonna even be a top 5
and
QB left next week because he's gonna be in Cancun.
And he don't gotta be. He don't gotta be. But
Hey,
what he did is stamp.
He got himself paid. He got himself paid.
Yeah, absolutely.
But good luck to whoever's paying him. That's all.
Hey, good luck, Chuck. We'll review.
They about to get the Gabe Vincent. My fault.
We will review those games as well as preview Commanders Bucks, which is the Sunday night game on Sunday afternoon, and we'll talk about the Vikings and the Rams that Kev just kind of alluded to on Monday's show. Catch us anywhere that you can stream your podcast. Let's kick it over to the NBA. Something is in the water in South Florida. The Hurricanes basketball, Miami Hurricanes get blown out at home yesterday by the Florida State Seminoles. Jimmy Butler asking for a trade. Tyreek Hill has a less than desirable year and immediately goes to, hey, I don't want to be here no more. June, can you give me some reports? What's going on in South Florida? What's in the water down there right now?
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna Google Tyreek Hill's stats right now, because you're right. It was very underwhelming. Being as though last year wasn't he number 1 on the NFL Top 100, voted by his peers. Okay, let's see. He's only 30 years old, right? He turned 30 in March, so he's like he ain't washed. He ain't old, but for some odd reason, the cheetah, he ain't been looking like the cheetah. He ain't been looking like that. And also, he quit on the team. Let's not say anything else. He quit on his Miami Dolphins team, which he's still a part of and didn't get cut from. Go ahead, Kev.
No, I was gonna say I could tell you the problem. I bet the over on him having 1,100 yards this season. So that was clearly what. If he stays with the Dolphins, I'll have to do it again next year. So,
and I don't know how much games Tua missed, but to go from 1,700 yards, 1,700, then 1,799, 1,800, 13 touchdowns over the in 2 straight years, and then you can't even crack 1,000. You crack 6 touchdowns. Listen. I'm gonna say this. Started 17 games, caught 81 balls, over 950 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That's a great year. Like, you give me that receiver on my team, right? But you're Tyreek Hill. You're not this guy we signed to try to help us. You're the guy we signed to fucking win games and not bitch and cry because any other reason until the season's over. You quit on the team. There is a clip where Jalen Waddle says, "Yo, Cheetah, wait, you're done?" In the third quarter?
That clip was crazy.
Bruh, if y'all want to like this, and this is the shit that pisses me off. Like G shit. I'm not even doing this for show. Anthony Richardson tapped out of a game in the fourth quarter, a goal to goal distance versus a divisional opponent in a game we needed to win. Absolutely. Was too tired physically and thought genuinely that, you know what? I think right now the best option is like get the backup in because I'm not the best guy for the job. The man got benched, scrutinized against the whole NFL, his own fans, Pat McAfee, everybody called him out, and rightfully so. I mean, who the fuck quarterback can't do that? But bruh just did a Antonio Brown in a classier way, and your head coach is gonna say that we spoke with him. Now we see we met in the middle. You're a fucking loser, Mike McDaniel. I thought he was a decent coach, and he probably just can't call plays the way he. You're a fucking loser. Like that's it. I do not fuck with Mike McDaniel one bit. I don't give a fuck. Like Chris Greer, what did I call him in the group chat? Spineless pussies. That's what I said. Because, bro, if you're gonna sit here, I
Talk
don't
about
do
it.
disrespect. I don't do disrespect. I don't come out here and disrespect players and coaches and talk crazy. It would be an honor for me to interview these people, like work with these people. But for Tyreek Hill to do that to his team, the other 52 guys that fight so much, and those guys on the practice squad that aren't activated on the roster, and getting that opportunity in the fourth quarter to play in a game versus the fucking sorry ass Jets that y'all lost to. Fuck you, bro. Get the fuck out of Miami. Fuck you. And go front run over there. Go front run over there. And Chris Greer, he's a fired fuck, honestly. He's not yet, but he needs to be a fired fuck. And him and McDaniel are gonna get the hopefully Chris Ballard treatment, what he's gonna get in Indy. And if you guys don't fucking do something next year, aka win a playoff game, goddamn try to win your division, y'all need to get out of town. Because what has they done for Miami? Like, what has Tyreek Hill done for Miami? I was in the group chat. I said, for him to have done that with zero success to show for it, and then Andre pushed back. Again, shout out to Dre, it's my bro. Andre pushed back. Nah, you can't say that. They went to the playoffs. Bro, what did Tyreek Hill do in the playoffs, bro? He had 13 catches, 160 yards, 1 touchdown. I said that's a Jamar Chase game. Jamar Chase is the best receiver in the league, arguably. But Tyreek Hill was the best player in the league last year. So what are we talking about? I don't appreciate somebody that quit on a team, changes your fucking Twitter profile picture to Antonio Brown waving with your face on it, and then you can apologize or whatever conversation you had with the coach and GM, shit's cool now. And nobody said nothing. I didn't hear Stephen A. Smith say shit about Tyreek Hill. I got nothing.
Kev, what you got?
Hey man,
By the way, Kev, before you go, sorry to interrupt you. I took Jets money line that game. That shit was good money. Good money.
listen, I'm glad
And
that
the Dolphins will never be shit, bro. This is why I say that. Y'all call me a hater, not y'all, but I get called a hater all the time, bro. And I don't hate the Dolphins. Dolphins win, cool, great. Don't beat the Colts, but great. Y'all will never be shit. Y'all will never be shit, bro. G shit. Y'all will never be shit.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say much as a Jets fan, but we did beat them, so I can say a little bit. They fucking suck. The Dolphins suck. They know it. Everybody knows it. Now the whole world knows it. I've known it for 33 years. Fuck the Dolphins. No, but seriously, it is fuck the Dolphins. But Tyreek Hill, it's such an interesting scenario there because he did have 2 great years the last 2 years. So is it him slowing down thing, or is it just the matter of Tua being in and out of the lineup? But even then, Tua hasn't been 100% healthy the last 2 years either, and he still put up 1,700 yards receiving. So to not even crack 100 or 1,000 yards, I'm sorry, to June's point is kind of nuts. Especially regardless of Malik Neighbors is cracking 1,000 yards with the quarterback play
Yo, talk that shit,
or
Kev.
lack of quarterback play that he's got there. So
Yep. And
and
bro played
he's a
17
rookie.
games, bro. He played all 17 games, bro. Tyreek Hill didn't miss a minute, bro.
And so yeah, like the quarterback being in and out, it's not an excuse. The broken wrist, everybody's hurt.
Kev, I'm sorry. They called out Tua Tagovailoa for not being healthy. Our quarterback is gonna have to be healthy for us to have success. bro, y'all are gonna do that, throw him under the bus like that when he's the best thing y'all fucking can have right now. If y'all don't have Tua, y'all are a 4-12 team. Let's
Straight
not
Agreed.
do
like
that.
that.
And I get it. I get it. He does need to be healthy. He does need to play. It does fucking suck when he gets hurt, and he is the reason that you guys don't make the playoffs. But at the same time, without him, y'all can have Tyreek Hill. He's not gonna crack 1,000. He's not gonna impact winning. So what are we talking about? Don't call out the quarterback, the best player that has been. He's brought the most sunshine to y'all team in the last few years. Nobody can run that offense the way he does. It's not our fault y'all picked him. But it is your fault for accepting and tolerating Tyreek Hill's actions, because Mike McDaniel said we let Tyreek Hill know we're not going to tolerate that going forward. Do we think Tyreek Hill's going to quit next year again? Is that what we're preparing for? No, you should never fucking tolerate somebody quitting on your team.
Right.
I'm
And
sorry, I can't get over that.
it's like we're not going to tolerate that going forward. Like, was that tolerable all season this past?
Why
Like,
what, bro?
it's
How
like,
does he still have a job, bro?
well, you look at McDaniel, and he looks like the guy that wants to be everybody's best friend. My
Yep.
dad always told me one thing. He said, "I'm not your friend. I'm your
I
fucking
swear
dad."
to God, I don't know. I
And
don't know, bro. I swear to
and
God, he
so
told me that my whole life.
and it makes sense. Like, he's my friend, but first he's my dad. And so your coach can be your friend, but first you got to be a coach.
Yeah.
And so when somebody acts out of line or does something, you got to discipline them in some way. And you
And
can't
even
let
to that
somebody
point, Kev,
you can't let somebody who just quit on the team just say,
be the
"Oh,
captain of the
he
team, bro. He
he
wears
had
a
a
seal shirt.
he had a conversation with you. He hasn't even had a conversation with the team.
How
So
you know if
you
they like him?
that's so you're before you have have him talk to the team, before you and the team have a conversation, you're just saying, well, he knows now going forward that that's not tolerated. That's kind of that's a
Like,
very, like, that's a
and
weak
Kev,
move.
He ain't
another
know it
thing is like,
before.
another thing is like Shane Steichen, the Indianapolis head coach. They mentioned that the locker room, the culture is a little fucked over there, right? Guys late to meetings, accountability not being taken. And guess what? You know, this is Shane Steichen's rookie year as a head coach, but Mike McDaniel is year 3 coach. How are people disrespecting you so bad and putting you under the bus in this light in your 3rd year? Bro, they do not fuck with you, bro. That's clear as day. If people being late to meetings or quitting on a team or doing shit that you're telling them in year 3 that, well, we're not going to tolerate that anymore, bro, that should have been some shit you clipped in week 6, first year. Unexcusable.
T T T T. Hey, let's take it back to the NBA. We saw a great Cavs OKC game last night. OKC's 15-game win streak was snapped despite a Donovan Mitchell 11.3 for 16 from the field performance. Cavs number 1 offense in the league. OKC number 1 defense in the league. June, can the Cavs beat the Thunder in a playoff series, knowing that Chet will probably be back by playoff time?
Yeah, I mean, yes, they can. I think what we saw last night was a great exhibit of having a good team, a great team. You know, this is an all-around team. Guys stepped up last night. Max Strus, I mean, 5 for 6 from 3. What did Donovan Mitchell do? He wasn't alive that last night. Donovan Mitchell, he ain't make his first bucket until 12 seconds left in the first half, and it was a dunk. He came out the second half. I think he missed his first 4 shots, went like 1 and 2 from the line. He was missing free throws. Like, Donovan Mitchell couldn't find it. Now, was he not getting to his spots? No. Was he playing a bad game, taking bad shots? Not at all. And that's part of why they're such a good team, because they're able to say, you know what? Well, he's not stepping up tonight. I mean, he's trying, but somebody else has got to do it. Strus made his shots. Jared Allen went, and Mobley, they each had 20, 10, and 5, I think. So, you know, when you're getting that type of production from the other guys, yeah, I do absolutely believe they can go toe to toe with anybody this year. And you know, it's crazy how night and day this team is from last year, because it's kind of the same team, but it shows what chemistry does. And I think this is what Pat Riley, like, this is what he kind of dreams of with his Miami teams, that he just lets roll over into the next season. Like, oh, they're just going to get better and continue to grow. Like, no, I mean, Cleveland has a bunch of young guys and a superstar, you know, that yeah, those guys can grow and grow into something. And they also, have a point guard, right? Like there's some things over there that Miami doesn't have. Going back to the original question, I do believe so. If they were to play in a 7 game series, though, my money would be on Shea Gilgis, MVP, Chet Holmgren. Adding him into that mix last night would have helped them so much in the sense of keeping one of those bigs out of the paint, at least some points of the game, because Chet is not going to just sit in there all day and clog it up. He could space the floor, he could shoot, he could drive. And so having Jared Allen and Evan Mobley just clog the paint all game, it's tough. And all you have is Isaiah Hartenstein. He's a immaculate rebounder. He can only do so much against those two guys, right? Plus depth. So having a healthy OKC team, I think OKC would do it, but the Cavs will give them a run for their money for sure. That probably go 7 games.
Kev, how you feel about it?
It's a nice win for Cleveland. I think OKC is the better team. Like if you go 7 games, I do think OKC wins. I think Isaiah Hartenstein was the biggest pickup of the offseason. And before that pickup, I thought Alex Caruso was the biggest pickup of the offseason. And they were both made by the Thunder. So this Cleveland team just reminds me of the 2014 Hawks, who won 60 games in the regular season and then, uh, you know, ended up losing to LeBron. But they have that feel of a team that's really good in the regular season. And once we get to the playoffs, I think it'll be interesting to see who they draw in the first round.
We're getting to the comments now because I'm with you, Kev. And I was with Antoine. He said, in a series, I have to take the Cavs. Then he says they're more vetted, which is true. And he said Mobley's taking the leap. We have to acknowledge how good of a big Evan Mobley is becoming. And for those that watched him in college, this isn't like a surprise. For those that are Knicks fans, just hated him because they called him soft, and he was a little soft, but he's also a fucking 21, 22-year-old kid that needs to grow and learn how to be a pro and put some muscle on. He's got the skill. We're seeing that now. Confidence has risen. But the last comment is throwing me. He said Donovan Mitchell can do everything Shea can do and better. And I absolutely have to disagree with that. I mean, we're talking about the MVP. Shea is literally the MVP if the season finished today. Donovan Mitchell, to me, as great of a superstar he is, as athletic as he is, as good of a three-point shooter as he is, great teammate, it feels like there's just a little ceiling to his game. Like we've seen the best of Donovan Mitchell, and I think Shea Gilgeous is getting better as we speak. And Shea Gilgeous can knock down the three. He has the mid-range on lock. Post game is crazy. Leads the league in steals. Uh, uh, passes the ball great. Finishes at the rim amazing. I can't get with D. Mitch can do everything Shea can do and better. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, even on defense, Shea's, a Donovan's length helps him, but
right.
Shea's just his defensive ability, being able to read passing lanes. Like he's to me one of the better defenders in the league, and Donovan's still not a bad defender, but I think even just effort wise, you see more of it every night from Shea than you do Donovan.
You gentlemen have anything else you want to go over before we get up?
Yo, Tyreek Hill. No, I'm playing. That shit had my blood boiling. The game started, so we got to get out of here soon. We got Penn State, Notre Dame. What you got, EP? Another news? What you giving us?
Nah, for shit show, man. In other news, in the English Championship League today, Cardiff beats Sheffield for the FA Cup final. I had Sheffield money line earlier, so that was kind of heartbreaking. Real Madrid's game goes under. That was cool. The Orange Bowl is underway. I gotta go make some dinner. I got some salmon and asparagus, and things going on tonight. Maybe a nice little glass of wine, watching some football.
Ooh.
You know the vibes. I don't got much else. Kev, you got anything else you want to go over before we get out of here?
Not much. Just no, don't bring any Pat Riley disrespect unless you brought your Bible.
There you go. And that was the last thing I wanted to get into. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm like, wait, looking at myself. I ain't wear this shit for no reason. It's this is time where tables have turned. 13 and 14 they got to take over. I don't know that these are going to be the two best players on our team. Hopefully they're not. Let's be honest. Hopefully that these aren't the two best players on our team going forward into next year or like throughout next year. But I do want to point out the fact that I'm extremely excited for the leap that Tyler Hero has taken. Super proud of him. The regression that we've seen from Bam is very worrisome, but it also makes sense. I mean, we need a big, we need a five. We need to stop playing Bam with the biggest fucking centers in the league and expecting him to score over them, giving him the ball late in the shot clock to make a shot. Terry Rozier, I don't hate him. Everybody seems to hate this guy, hate his guts, and say he's a worse player. I could see where they're coming from with certain shit, but uh, the consensus is get him off the team. Now, just to the Jimmy thing, because I did give Tyreek Hill a new one, right? I gotta sit down real quick with Jimmy Butler and express my frustration here because I think I love Jimmy Butler, right? Like, I mean, he's done so much for the franchise and brought us from a non-playoff team to two finals appearances, took Tyler Hero to the conference finals a couple times, and XYZ made Bam, or not made, let me say, but helped Bam become as great of a guy and player as he has been. Kev, thank you for pointing out that we're not tolerating Pat Riley disrespect. I don't give a fuck if Pat Riley shits the next year and a half. What he's done for this franchise is more than enough. Like, shut the fuck up. The Jimmy Butler thing that bothers me though is like, don't, and everybody does it. All athletes do it. They lie, they say things one day and change it. But it went from you didn't have to tell the media that you've played this game for a while now and made so much money from it, and that's not what you're doing it for anymore. For the end game to literally be, well, this is a money situation. And he's mad because Miami didn't want to give him $53 million for the next 2 more years. So, okay, be mad. That's okay. I could get why you're upset. I totally can. The way you started handling this at first was very responsible, very respectful, letting the media know, like, hey, look, I'm always going to be in the media. You guys are going to ask about it. It doesn't bother me. Look, I'm cool. Like, I'll let y'all talk about it. Something happened in a span of 24 hours, and I think it was coach calling out or someone calling out the fact or lack of effort and the fact that he didn't fucking try and quit on his team, Tyreek Hill style, essentially, for 2 games. Why do, as a front office, why do we have to accept that? As a coaching staff, why would we accept that?
It's
Tyreek Hill should be suspended, is my point. If you're going to stay on the team, suspend the guy. Because Jimmy Butler deserves maybe not 7 games. I mean, $3 million
well,
is kind of fucking crazy.
football and basketball, you don't have 7 games.
But conduct detrimental is exactly appropriate for Jimmy Butler, and I think that he didn't have to do half of the things he's done over the last week to get this ugly. But
Well, it's also the
I'm
fact
done.
that you it's also the fact that you came here. You said you love the culture. You love that they don't take shit. You love that they call people out when they need to be called out, and then you get called out, and now is when you have a problem with that. So uh
Yeah,
it's just a weird, like, it's deeper than it's something deeper. It doesn't make sense. You come out this, well, not you, but your agent talks to the media this year about how you were going through what you were going through last year with your father, and then unknowingly Pat Riley and Andy Ellsberg show up to your father's, the memory of your father. So
yeah,
didn't know that they were going to be there. They just showed up to support you. So there's been so much talk about, we know this organization supports Jimmy. Jimmy loves it here. Jimmy wants to retire here. Jimmy doesn't want to play anywhere else. To now it's, I'd rather play anywhere else than here. So something happened that we don't know. I don't think anybody actually knows the real story of what happened and what's going on, because none of it actually makes sense, uh, based on what Jimmy said, unless Jimmy just
yeah,
lied about everything he said
yeah,
since being here. So that's the only
yeah,
thing. As far as just the Heat go as a team, I think when it comes to Bam, let him run offense more. There's been 10 games where he's had 7 or more assists this season. They're 9-1 in those games. Run the offense through Bam Moore, let him dictate what happens on offense, and I think it'll help on offense, and he's still to me one of the best defenders in the league. So
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, as we cross this hour 10 mark. This has been your Thursday night All Things Sports Talk Show on the All Things Sports Network, brought to you by Small Town Productions. Ticker up top, brought to you by ESPN Bet. If you tapped it on the live, thank you so much. If you're tuning in after the fact, wherever you can stream your podcast, we appreciate you taking time out of your day because you could have been anywhere, but you're here listening.